Good evening. I'm Crimson with Shine a Light in the Dark, and I am here with the beautiful Anna Eclipse, and she is doing us the great pleasure today of giving us a little Moonlight. She recently, in October, released her one of her singles called Bite Back, which is amazing, guys. If you haven't heard it, please check it out. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm on Eclipse. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much, Crimson, for having me. Basically, I've been a musician for all my life. I just recently, in November of last year, decided to take it a little bit more seriously and release my first single called Unholy. And following from a little bit of TikTok popularity, it blew up, and I just from there just decided to release a couple more songs, one called Kill Me Slow and one called Bite Back. And basically, I like to take my life's situations and turn them into songs. Every one of my songs they're very authentic. They all come from me and actual events that have happened in my life. I like to write a lot about mental health advocacy. I like to write about just female empowerment in general, and also just a little bit about my life as well, toxic relationships, you name it, just different things about my life. And my main goal as a musician really is to write things that resonate with my audience. I want the listener to be like, oh, this hits home. I'm going through blank right now. And to hear that this artist has also been through that and they've overcome this obstacle in their life, it's a really comforting thing when you hear that from an artist or a musician. And music has gotten me through tons of different things in my life, and I just want to give back because music has been there for me. And if I could do the same for other people who are struggling, I've made it as an artist. That's my number one goal.
Oh my gosh, like, everything you just said was beautiful. I love your passion and your authenticity and even talking about like wanting to give it back and just like helping people heal and like really talking about like the hard subjects that sometimes are really, really hard to talk about. I often like to say that music is almost like its own separate entity, right? Like another person.
Yes.
It's somebody that understands us regardless of anything. It doesn't care who we are, where we're from, if we're rich or poor or, anything. And I hear you kind of talking about like wanting to give that back and wanting to make a difference in that world. How do you go now as an artist, right? How do you create that world now for your listeners? And what helps you step into that space to have the courage to do so?
Honestly, I feel like if I wasn't honest and I just wrote things about whatever I wanted to write about, I just feel like it's not authentic to me. I know there's certain artists that love to do that, and that's really cool. I wish I could be that type of person, but for some reason, I just love to write about real events in my life because, like I said, my main goal as an artist is to help people heal and even just to give them comfort for a little while, just a little escape from their problems. That's something that has helped me tremendously growing up, and even still, like if I'm going through a problem and I find a song that I relate to, it really helps me a lot. So I guess to step into that mode, I think being honest in your lyrics and just kind of expressing yourself the best way you possibly can and not being afraid to shed light on these topics is how I do it. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all people going through different things in our lives, and I'm not going to fake anything. I'm going to let it all out in my lyrics. I feel like being authentic as an artist is the best way to go. Especially with my main goal of wanting to help others and just give them comfort during tough times, because let's be honest, life can be tough sometimes, and hearing that someone has been through something similar to you, it's a comforting thing.
It really is because oftentimes when we're going through something, right, we feel so alone and we feel so isolated. And, a lot of times, a lot of things, especially like with mental health, their vulnerability are kind of shunned or hushed or they're not really looked at as much. And music gives this safe space to where somebody can be completely vulnerable and be like, this is how I feel. And
Yeah.
allowing like the listener to be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not alone. And obviously, the person who's writing about it's on the other side of it. So it shows hope, right? Like you
Yes.
can get to the other side, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
And so I think that that's so beautiful. And I heard you mention earlier that music's always been a part of your life.
Yes.
And
From a
that, oh no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, and that you said like you started taking yourself a little bit more seriously after you kind of blew up on TikTok. What happened there? What was kind of going on that gave you that extra push to even start really taking that leap of faith on yourself and showing up for yourself and making this your career?
Honestly, growing up, it's something I've always wanted to do. Even as a little kid from age 4, I just remember singing and just loving that. And even when I was like age 8 to 10, writing lyrics, and just it was something I've always wanted to do. And as I got older, let's say like around 16, 17, 18, I played in some local bands around my area. Um, Nothing really ever came of any of that stuff, but I just knew this is something I really wanted to pursue. This is something I really wanted to fulfill. So in my early 20s, of course, life happens around college age, and it kind of fell off a little bit. I quit music for a bit, and I was wondering why I was feeling so depressed, so unfulfilled, and it's because I didn't have my passion in my life. I didn't
Yeah.
have, and I know I was, of course, like it wasn't the end of the world, but I just felt unfulfilled, and I figured, you know what, I need to bring this back into my life. I need to make music again. So in 2022, I decided to work towards releasing my first single, and I really didn't know what was going to come of it, honestly. I just wanted to do it for myself, to say I tried, and just to get back into the swing of making music and just fulfilling my passion. So I drafted Unholy, just like the rough mix, in May of 2022, and I handed it off to a producer I met, and he helps me produce every one of my songs now. He's amazing at what he does. I handed it off to him. I want to say in October of 2022. He just transformed my instrumentals into something amazing, like he always does. And in November of 2022, November 18th, actually today, the year anniversary of Unholy, I released my
Oh,
first
awesome.
song.
Congratulations. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then from there, I basically started playing some local shows. I didn't really see. I mean, of course, like it picked up, and I honestly, for my first song, I thought maybe I'd have to release a couple more to get where I am now. So honestly, how I look at things in life is I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for wherever I am in the present moment. And I wasn't expecting really much of anything other than, okay, I'm going to release this. I'm going to release my innermost thoughts and feelings. I'm going to see where it goes. If it doesn't go anywhere, whatever, at least I can say I tried. At least I'm pursuing my passion. If it does go somewhere and people resonate with it and they like it, like, amazing. So in June or July, I can't remember. I think July, actually July, I posted a TikTok and it blew up to like, I think 150,000 views. And I noticed when I would keep posting, it would that one went to like 150. Then I would post videos that got like 600, 700,000 views, and next thing I knew, my Spotify was blowing up, and it felt like a dream, really. And it's still. Here's the thing: nothing ever surprises me. Like it just like I'm sorry, that was the wrong wording. It all surprises me because I didn't expect any of this. And the fact that this many people are listening to my music and resonating with my lyrics, and I get messages all the time saying, oh my gosh, like your music has helped me leave this toxic relationship, or it's helped me through a really hard time in my life. It makes me feel so fulfilled as an artist. And just to know that that little ounce of faith I had in myself to release my first song, like, it went a long way. So I guess any advice I have, for anybody listening is, if you have something that you love to do, just go ahead, do it, believe in yourself, because you never know where it can go. And here's the thing, even if it doesn't go super far, like, at least you feel fulfilled, at least you're doing something you love, and that's all that matters. Because when I tell you I didn't think this would ever happen to me, I really didn't. I just wanted to do something that I was passionate about from a young age, and I wanted to just fulfill kind of like my passion in life, because I was just feeling like a void inside when I wasn't doing music. I was just feeling not myself. And the fact that I got back out there and did it again, and all these amazing things are happening, it's really, really nice to see.
You know, I love that entire story because of the fact that it's always so nice when you hear the authentic ones get that move. Because so many times it's not the authentic ones that get the big jumps. And so it's so inspiring when I see somebody with such a kind heart and a good heart, and somebody that really wants to help people and really wants to give back, that got this amazing boost and took this chance on themselves. Because even like me as a therapist, like when I was going through like my healing journey, right, there was a small period of time that I disconnected from music a little bit because I had so many things going on in my own head, and I don't know why. I guess I forgot about the magic. But music's almost like a magic in our soul that like reignites a fire within us that can sometimes once be dead. There's a famous quote that says, the job of a musician is that of a lover, to reignite and what is it? To reignite and awaken you to the parts of your soul that you never knew. And I always just found that so beautiful. And like what I hear you talking about, like your lyrics and like your music, is you're talking about those real things that are awakening other people to parts of themselves and making them feel accepted about those selves most of all, right? Because the world tries to tell us for so long that these parts of us aren't acceptable, so we hide them,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
And just hearing your story about how like you took that chance on yourself, God, I know that that could inspire so many to do that. And also, I think that really I want to hone in on that authenticity, right? Showing up for you, but showing up for the real you and not being afraid to be authentic. How did you help yourself? Or like if somebody's struggling to show parts of themselves, their true vulnerability, things like that, how did you challenge yourself and what helped you get past that idea of like, oh no, I'm going to be myself with this and this is what I want to put forward?
Honestly, writing is my outlet to get just my emotions out, whether it be about my mental health struggles or relationship struggles, or I know this is something in just struggles I've been through in general, being a female in the music industry. It's just sometimes I feel a little underestimated, and I just feel like music has always been my outlet to release those emotions, and you should never be afraid of what you're feeling. And here's the thing, like, there's probably a lot of people out there that are feeling the same way that I'm feeling. So that's kind of how I built the confidence to let that out through my lyrics, because you never know who you can help, just through simply one song, because growing up, hearing a song that resonated with me and knowing that that person has been through something similar, it's just, I feel like it's a chain reaction. Like, it just helps so many people because that person was vulnerable in their lyrics. They let their vulnerable side show. They were honest to their audience, and the audience picked up on it, and they're like, "Wow, this really resonates with me." They're really being honest in their lyrics. They're helping more people than they know, and that's something that I didn't quite grasp until it happened to me, because I wrote Unholy about just a toxic situation in my life, and there's so many other people that are going through similar things, and I get messages all the time saying, "Oh my gosh, like this resonates with me. This hits home. Um, thank you for sharing your story." And it's nice because I kind of get to share a little bit more and dive deeper into the lyrics when people ask, and they just basically like knowing that people resonate with my lyrics and that I have helped people along the way in my musical journey. It's just the most fulfilling thing ever. So I guess my advice is to anybody that's struggling, with being vulnerable in their lyrics, just don't be afraid to, because you never know who you can help by being honest. And it's shown me that just by simply sharing my lyrics and putting honesty into my lyrics about my struggles, a lot of people are going through the same thing, and it's honestly, it's created a community of people that don't feel so alone, that, oh my gosh, like this person's going through that, I'm going through this, like we're all going through something together. And I think that's beautiful, because a lot of people, they show you a side of themselves that they don't show, you know what I mean, like they kind of put up a front and show people the side that they want them to see. But I feel like being vulnerable is kind of my gift as an artist, to show people that, okay, look, I'm struggling with this, and they might be struggling with the same thing, and if I can be that person to kind of open myself up and show people that it's okay to be going through these things, and I went through it too, and it gives people comfort. And that's something I've always had through music, and I just, like I said, I just want to give back, because without music, I don't know where I'd be, honestly. So it's just something really special to me to be vulnerable.
And what's beautiful about vulnerability is they say, like, what is it? Vulnerability begets vulnerability, right? So, like, it almost allows the other person to take the mask that they were wearing. Because we all have projections that we like people to see of us in the world, right? Like,
Yes,
which is why social media sometimes can be so harmful, is it shows everybody the best parts of your life. And then everybody's like,
yeah,
oh my God, everybody's doing so great. And I'm feeling this way. And that's
exactly.
what makes that vulnerability so awesome, because it's like, oh, wait a minute, what I'm seeing is not the whole picture, right? Like, there are people out there still like me. There are people out there that are still struggling because, like you were talking about earlier, life gets hard, you
Yes.
know? And I love how you were talking, though, too, about like when your fans would write you and you were able to kind of go in a little bit deeper into the lyrical content. Do you mind if I ask you kind of like, what your inspiration, like, I know that it was about a relationship and a kind of a toxic relationship and a pattern that was broken, but what was your inspiration and how did you really work through that?
So basically, you're talking about Unholy, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, it's funny because there's a lot of people that get the lyrics of Unholy, and then of course I get other people just commenting like, "Oh, this is religious blasphemy," but it's honestly it's a metaphor. So basically, when I was in this situation, I felt like this person. I just felt like I was turning to a person that I did not want to be. I showed them basically my ugly side, my unholy side, and I really wanted that. I really wanted it to work. I was trying everything to get this relationship to work. And it just came to a point where I ended up showing them my ugly side and I felt controlled. I felt like very unfulfilled in this relationship. And basically, when the lines say "you're dragging me through hell," I honestly felt like it was just hell. It was horrible. And basically, I get DMs from girls too, and just everybody telling me, "Oh, this song has given me the strength to leave my toxic relationship, or it has helped me cope with a toxic situation in my life." And just hearing that, it's really made me feel like, oh my gosh, I should just keep being vulnerable in my lyrics, keep shedding the light on important topics, and not being afraid to be honest because you never know who's going through what, and you never know who can stumble across your lyrics and be like, wow, this hits home. This has helped me through this situation, and I thank you.
So I have kind of a weird question. So is Bite
Absolutely.
Back kind of your fight back to that? Like,
Yes.
because Bite Back's kind of like got that rowdiness of like, not anymore to me, kind of like, "Rrr."
Yeah.
Is that kind of a response a little bit to Unholy?
Yes. Yes and no. So basically, it's a kind of a double meaning song, and I wanted to write something. I've always thought it would be really cool to write something with a double meaning. So basically, Bite Back is written in the perspective of a toxic relationship, that you're biting back at the toxic relationship. And yes, it could be connected to Unholy, because in that moment that I was writing it, I was going through a similar situation um, where I wanted to fight back, and it was kind of like a sequel to Unholy. But in the same token, I wanted something to kind of take back my power as a woman in music. A lot of the times, I feel like we're constantly overlooked in my and I hate to say it, but in my experience, it just seems like I was constantly underestimated while I was trying to grow my career. And I don't know if I can speak for everybody. That's just kind of how I felt. But being a music in being a woman in the music, the rock music industry, it kind of felt like I was being overlooked all the time. And I just wanted something to take back my power. Like, look, this is what I have to offer. I have a lot to offer, and I'm not going to be overlooked. I'm not going to be underestimated. This is my taking back my power song. And I know a lot of women in the same genre, they can kind of relate to me. So I wanted to write something that we can all relate to, if that makes sense. But it also has a double meaning because it's written in the perspective of a toxic relationship as well, kind of like a fight back song. So it has a double meaning.
I love that though, and even if I take that out of the context of like how you were saying underestimated as a woman in music, I think that it's powerful in the ways that I feel like not everybody may, not all of your listeners, right, are artists, so they can't identify with that part that you're
Yeah.
speaking about, but they can identify with the part that they felt severely underestimated in life and not
Yeah.
like just overlooked and stuff. And by the way, I am so sorry that you've had to feel that way because I think that you are a beautiful young lady and that nobody should have ever doubted your capabilities. You are an awesome musician. So,
Thank you so much.
oh, you're well. And that's what sucks is I feel like sometimes if we would just be more supportive of everyone instead of just trying to literally look for these ways to break them down. But like, if we think about it and what we don't realize is the reason they try to break us down is because we're easier to be controlled and manipulated and able to be changed
Yes.
into certain things that they want when we're not sure of ourselves and what we want and who we are. What are
Yes.
your kind of thoughts on that?
I definitely agree. Honestly, part of the other reason why I wrote Bite Back was because when I was receiving some just overall growth as a musician, I was having some backlash from other local musicians telling me that, oh, you were put on a botted playlist, or oh, they're just accusing this of being inorganic. Like I did this myself, or I paid for this to happen, and I just felt like saying, if it was one of your buddies, you wouldn't have never you would have never went there and accused them of buying their way onto things, because honestly, all it takes is, I work in marketing too. When I'm not doing music. So honestly, all it takes is one TikTok to blow up. It takes one Instagram reel to blow up. It could be something as simple as that. And the fact that, I don't know, when I experienced those things and just some doubts from people and just kind of negative projections, it hurt my feelings. And I just
Yeah.
thought, you know what, I'm going to write something to take back my power, because I'm not going to sit here and feel inadequate, underestimated. So that's what Bite Back really is. It's just about me taking back my power as a woman in music. It's about me taking back my power in general, because I just feel like for this long, I just would listen to things that people have said to me and take it to heart. And it's kind of my song where I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to take this anymore. It's like a metaphorical, you know what? I'm better than all of this. I'm not going to listen to the negativity. I'm going to live my life, and I'm not going to let any of this weigh me down. So that's where I got the inspiration really for Bite Back. And I like the double meaning too, because they can apply it to a toxic relationship in their life, a toxic family member, so be it, or just feeling inadequate and underestimated in general. So people can apply that anywhere in their lives and resonate with it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wanted to hit on something that you said earlier though about like the musician, like people like, oh well, you must have bought, like almost discrediting your growth. And yes. I feel like that's such an extreme injustice, because what it really does is it takes somebody's hard work that is now becoming successful and it slaps them in the face with it, saying, oh well, you don't deserve this, or you couldn't have gotten this organically. And I think that it's one of the most rude things that somebody could do, especially when somebody's pouring their heart out and they're being authentic and they're really trying on their own path. But I think one of the things that helped me the most with that was to realize that it was a projection of how they felt about themselves. And if they looked at the fact that you took a risk on yourself, right? And yes, it was successful, then they can't justify why internally they won't take a risk on themselves.
Exactly.
You know, so you had to have done something that wasn't quite real, because that makes me not have to look in on myself, right? And check myself and say like, oh, what's up with me? Why am I not doing these things for me? Like, you know, and it's so, I hate to say it, but it's so shitty.
It really, really is. It was something that really bothered me. And to hear it from multiple people, it was kind of like, okay, well, what are you projecting that you're insecure about? And like, why are you ruining just how I feel about myself? And it's wrong, you know? And I would never, it's crazy because I would never do these things to anybody. And the fact that people would accuse me of certain things, and instead of just congratulations, like, wow, like it's amazing that a local musician's getting this recognition. Like I would have done the same. I would have congratulated them. So it's just basically, I wanted to take back my power. I wanted to stop just reading into the things people were saying, because it honestly does come to, from a place of insecurity, and they're just projecting their own insecurities out there. So I guess what I have to say to anybody that's going through something similar is just don't listen to the negativity, as simple as it sounds. Because for the longest time, even years before that, I've listened to all types of negative things people have said, and it stunted my growth dramatically. Like, it took me so long to get back out there and try releasing music again, because I just felt inadequate. I felt like I wasn't good enough to do it. I felt like nobody was going to listen to it, and by taking one little chance on myself, all of this has changed. So if you have something you're passionate about and someone is saying something shitty and just trying to steer you off your path, like, just ignore them. Do what you gotta do. Pursue your passion and block them out. Block the negativity out. That's the best thing you can do.
You know, one of my favorite things that I think always helped me with that too is a reminder that thieves don't break into empty houses. So the thief's not going to go break into a house if there's nothing there worth stealing, which means that generally somebody's not going to attack us or project very harshly towards us unless there was something good there, something that they wanted, something that they were hoping at for themselves. And So it's funny because they try to detour us off of our path with those actions, but something beautiful happens when the person decides to not listen for the first time, because we get so many core beliefs about ourselves and we don't even realize that we have the ability to take those beliefs. Like if I were to say you are blah 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 and then hand you and say this pin's that, you have the opportunity to take it from me. But for some reason I don't think that, for especially when we're children, we don't realize that we don't have to take it. And we don't have to let that absorb and be a part of who we are, because that's not who we are. And we're made to believe all these damn lies about ourselves that were never true. And then we have to go through this whole healing journey to recorrect our mind of all the things that we were told and fix them, you know? And I just want to say that I hope, like, through that process, I think that I can tell that you've grown a lot, but I also want to say I really hope, like, from the bottom of my soul, that you didn't absorb any of that and that you are actually able to enjoy the victory that you've got, because that's how you can tell who your real friends are, right? I like to say bills versus investments. Your investments are happy for you. They're people that, you're equally give and taking with. Your bills are the people that's like, I don't, like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And you deserve to be around people who, especially when you are getting your success that you've worked so hard for, to be excited for you. Do you have
Exactly.
that in your life?
I do. I have a ton of it. So I'm
Good.
very, very thankful for that. Family, friends, my bandmates, they've all been amazing, very, very supportive towards this.
Good.
Like I said, this is a dream that I basically just decided to chase and just, I don't know, give myself a little bit, just put myself out there. And I'm amazed at where it's gone. And it's really nice because family's supportive. I have a lot of friends that are supportive. Um, and it's just really cool because this is somewhere I never thought I would be in life. And it just goes to show, if you take a little risk on yourself and believe in yourself a little bit, just amazing things can happen. So
And that's beautiful. And I'm so glad that it's such amazing things are happening for you right now. What is the future goals that you have right now kind of look like? What are you hoping for here within the near future?
yeah, so I'm basically, like, right now I'm working on a lot of new music. 2024 is going to be a great year for music. I am going to drop a couple songs. I may drop an EP during the summertime. I'm not too sure yet, but definitely more singles are coming.
Yay.
2024, I'm
Okay.
definitely looking at performing live a lot more.
Ooh.
I am from Florida, so I will be playing a lot more in the Florida area. Hoping to branch out soon because I know a lot of my listeners are from the Texas, Georgia, California areas, and it'd be really cool to play somewhere over there one of these days. I really want to, so hopefully that happens soon. But other than that, really just dropping some more music, playing live a lot more, and then who knows?
Yeah, please come to Texas. Just I'll throw that one out there for you. Just please come to
It's
Texas
on my
loves
bucket
you.
list. Like, I want one of these days. I have to go. I really, really want to play a show in Texas. I have a lot of friends actually that live in Texas. One specifically, I made a song with him. His name is Retri. It's a really cool, like,
Is that Killing Me Slow or Kill Me Slow?
no, it's called
Or was that
Grayscale by
Grayscale?
Retri. And he's from Texas. And it'd be really cool one day to play a show in Texas and have him on guest vocals because that song Grayscale is really cool. And I wrote it too, basically about just wanting to be something in music and letting go of your doubts that you have in yourself. And it's a song that means a lot to me, and it's a song that means a lot to him. So it'd be really cool to perform that live with him one of these days. So Texas is definitely a stop that I want to make, whether it be a tour or just a little, just a couple different shows in different areas. I would love to play in Texas.
Awesome. Well, when that comes about, totally message me. We'll figure something out. I've got a couple venues that we could definitely work with for that. Um, but no, that's awesome. And so it sounds like you've got a lot kind of going on for the future, and just like we're doing a lot of writing, and we've been. So I have a kind of a question about like the writing, right? Like, so all these
Yeah.
topics here are very deep and they're very authentic and real, right? So they strike those core components of our heart, right?
Yes.
So when you sing them, do they transport you back there? And how long does it take you to get back to like in your own space again?
I would honestly say that every time I do sing these songs live, it's kind of at a point of personal growth. So I'm transported back in that feeling, but I don't stay there very long because I've grown from these things. And
Okay.
it's kind of nice to just see how far I've come from feeling these different ways. And that's not to say that every now and then, if I'm feeling, I'm kind of at a low point or I'm going through something similar, yeah, maybe that would take me a little bit longer to kind of get back into my space. But really, I've healed from a lot of these things, and it's just really whenever I do sing them live, and it's just kind of like a reminder of how far I have come in my life from my struggles and doubts. And it's just really nice to see that, wow, I put some faith in myself. Wow, I believe in myself and good things are happening. And it's really cool because, especially Unholy, like I wrote it during a really vulnerable time in my life. And to see that something so negative brought about something so beautiful, it just goes to show that these things that happen in your life, like you can, it's kind of what you make of them. So I could have let that destroy me, but I instead decided to write something about it and get my feelings out through music. And it's honestly, it's been the biggest blessing in my life. So I took something that was super dark, super negative, and I turned it into something really positive by writing about it. And a lot of people like the song, and it just means the world to me.
Kind of like the core components of like alchemy, right? Like, or those phoenix moments, or however you want to identify it, right? Is like it's it's sad but true that such dark pain can be turned into such hope and inspiration when
Yes.
channeled and used correctly. It can give power back or it can take it away. One of the things that I've always kind of liked to say, like, so I know I've mentioned this on here 100 times, but I grew up like it was my own trauma that made me want to be a trauma therapist, right? So if you
Yes.
think about it, we have this big, huge puddle of like, let's just make it gasoline, right? And I have a choice. Do I let that sink me? Or do I strike a match and rise like a phoenix and let whatever's gone on here help me rise and help
Yeah.
other people from this? And it's really hard to strike that match and to alchemize that. But the alternative is that I let it drown me, right?
And you can't do that, you have to. It's crazy because I believe that no matter what's going on in your life, you have the ability to react in any way you like. So you could either let it destroy you, or you can pick yourself up no matter how hard it is and do something about it and make yourself better and heal from whatever you're going through. And that's something that I've learned along the way. Of course, I've let certain things just get me down completely, but with personal growth, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. I'm going to take back my power. I'm going to rise up and I'm going to make the best out of situations because you only have one life to live, Like you can't let things destroy you. And that's something that I had to learn along the way.
Well, yeah, and I like how you said like you can turn it into something good because like I think it's a perspective shift, right?
Yes,
And what I mean by
absolutely.
that, bad things happen, unfortunately, and God, do I wish that they didn't all the time. But I can choose to learn from the situation that's at hand and create something beautiful and move in a certain way. Or, like you said, that we can't let it drown us. And so I can take those pieces because we did learn wisdom during those. No matter what the
Yeah.
wisdom was, there was something that was learned in those moments and in those experiences that we can take with us. And I really love how um you're taking those experiences with you and taking that knowledge and even like allowing it not to cloud your perspective, right? But then also to just to even say like, and this is where I throw myself under the bus, is even as a therapist, I know what the good perspective is, but that does not mean that I am always able to abide by it and I don't get down or things like that because life is what we were talking about earlier. Life can be so hard sometimes. How do you take care of yourself during your writing periods? Because you are essentially writing about your life. How do you kind of take care of your mental health during those times?
It's crazy because I feel like letting it out and not keeping it pent up is the best thing you can do. So I do encourage people, if they're struggling with something, just to find somebody trusted and just talk to them about it. And I do that too. I have people in my life that I can be vulnerable with and just tell them what's going on. But something I do when I'm alone, if I really need to get something off my chest, is I write about it. Even if it's not a song, even if it's just in my notes app, just to get something off my chest. It really just releases that feeling, and it's not good to keep that pent up. I honestly, if it wasn't for all these things that have happened in my life, whether it be mental health struggles, just toxicity in friendships, relationships, just feeling underestimated as a musician, like I wouldn't have any of these songs and I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I take my struggles and I make something beautiful out of them. And it's crazy because when you first do it, it's like, okay, it's like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. Like, I got this off my chest. I talked to somebody about it. I wrote this down. I feel like writing it down or talking to somebody, it's a healthy way to get these tough feelings off your chest.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy because I'll turn these feelings into my songs, and then later down the road, hearing from somebody that these songs have made an impact on their life, like it's wow, like I didn't go through this for nothing. I went through this to help someone that's also struggling, and I'm a big mental health advocate. Also, I struggle from anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder. So whenever I see somebody that is struggling with something that I currently struggle with, I'm always the first to tell them, oh, you're not alone. I've been there before. And it's really nice to see because, yes, I make music. Yes, I do all the music stuff. But before I was even a musician, I went through a really tough period in my life with one of my disorders. And basically, I saw somebody that was struggling on TikTok with the same thing. And I had I had to help them. Like I couldn't let them just sit there and struggle alone. And from that one comment, let me tell you, I get messages almost every day telling me thank you. Wow, like that's really helped me, and it made people see a different perspective on what I was struggling with, what they're struggling with. And if I could help just one person, whether it be through my music or just whether just being just an ear to listen or just a positive light in their life, then I've done my job, not even as a musician, as a person. Because really, like, I just want to help people. Because I've been through some stuff in my life, and it's great because I had help too from people that have been through such certain situations, and they've really helped me. And without those people, I wouldn't be mentally strong. I wouldn't have healed from those past issues and certain things. So if I could be that person and shed that light, that's all I really want to do.
No, and that's beautiful. And if you don't mind, like totally, if you do, then like I'll totally delete this part. But like even like you talking about your anxiety, I feel like is a moment that's kind of inspirational because you're on here talking, and I can tell you're nervous, because I can tell your anxiety is like a little up. But at the same token, I think that it's beautiful because you're pushing through it and you're really fighting against that. Like, and so I think that that's almost like this beautiful moment of saying, like, how do you, when you are nervous, what helps you take that on to where you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to show up for myself more than I'm anxious about X.
Honestly, it just comes from a place of telling myself that I have the ability to react to my situations any way I want. So I could sit here and I could panic about it, or I could pick myself up and I could go on with my life and I could just enjoy my life. Because for a while there, this is not music related at all, but I was having some problems where it was getting the best of me. It really was. And I wasn't able to really enjoy the things that I enjoy. I wasn't able to go out with friends. I wasn't really able to work. And it was just destroying my life. And then I did actually connect with a therapist. And the best advice he gave me was really, he said that you have the ability to react to things. You can't let it control you. You can't let it bring you down. So when I was going through a particularly hard area in my life, he said just pick up, and even though it might be hard, just live your life as if it's not happening. And it's crazy because there's times where I get a lot of panic and just different things. Just it, you know how it is. It comes with it. And I tell myself I have the ability to react to this however I want. I can either sit here and I could panic about it and let it destroy me, or I can pick myself up and I could just live my life. And it's crazy because if I'm panicking about something and I choose to go about what I was doing anyway, it's not a form of distraction. It's more or less strength. Like, I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm not going to let this ruin my day. And that's a trick that I've picked up from him that has really helped me in my life. So that's something I like to share. If anybody is struggling with the similar things that I'm struggling with, anxiety related, whatever it may be, you have the ability to react however you like. You don't have to sit there and let it destroy you. You can live your life, you can enjoy life, and not let it ruin your life. And that's something that unfortunately it came with years of dealing with it and struggling with it, and I haven't reached this point until now. So I'm very thankful to be at this point in my mental health healing journey. And if I can help people through it, like that's all I really want to do, because it was a particularly hard, I can't speak today, particularly hard time in my life. So if I can help someone through that, it's a win for me, because it's difficult to deal with, and you have the ability to, you're the creator of your own destiny. You are the creator of your life. So basically you have the ability to change the trajectory of your life through situations you make, how you react to things. And I've always been a firm believer in that. So ever since I changed my mental perspective on that, it's really benefited my life in so many positive ways. So that's just something I'd like to share, just from my own healing journey.
No, and thank you so much for that, because I feel like, I heard you almost say, you were like, this isn't quite music related, but like in some ways it can transform into it, but also like anxiety, I feel like is such, from a counseling point even, I would definitely say most of my clients, if not all of them, are suffering from anxiety at this time on an all-time high and scale. And I love what you mentioned about, like, the most dangerous thing about a parasite is what?
That it drains your blood. It bleeds you dry.
Close. You don't know you have it.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that's so important is because if I know I have it and it's draining my blood, then I can kill it, right? So I just take an antiparasitic and I'm gone with it. But instead, I go through life feeling bad because it is draining my blood, right? And it's making me feel bad and it's doing all these things. And so then I start doing all these things to try to help myself. Like, I'm going to the doctor, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and nothing's helping. I'm actually feeling worse, right? And so that makes me start feeling like, ugh, like, why am I even trying anymore, right? And the messed up part is the second that I actually realize I have a parasite, I can take the antiparasitic and I can kill it. Whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever you want your parasite to be. It can be X, right? But the thing about a parasite is the only way that you can kill it is through an antiparasitic. The antibiotics that the doctor gives you actually pisses it off and makes it actually wreak havoc on the body. And the reason I say that is because that parasite is in our mind, constantly telling us things. And it tells us everything that we don't need to hear all the time. And so it pulls strings almost like a marionette, right? And what I mean by that is if a 5-year-old got in your face and said, you are going to pay attention to me right now, right now, you'd be like, excuse me, little child. I don't think this is how this is going to work today, right? But we don't do that to our mind. When our mind's like, no, this is how you're going to feel. This is what you're going to think right now. Yeah. You're going to feel this way right now. This is what's going to be right now. And we don't even stop to be like, you know what? I do have a choice. Just like I have a choice to get to that kid that was pointing in my face. I'm like, okay, like, no, that's not where I'm going right now, brain. That's not what I'm going to do. I know what you want me to do. Like that parasite wants me to do at this moment. It wants me to freak out or do X, Y, and Z. But, and the thing is like when you first start fighting the parasite, of course, like we were talking about, it gets mad because it doesn't want to be killed. So you see like that little bit of a spike, right?
Yes.
But then after you get on the other side of that spike, what happens?
You become better.
And so I love that you were talking about that, because it's so true. How hard was that process for you to really step into that?
Very, very difficult. It took, I want to say, years, because I've been dealing with this stuff for ever since I was a child, really. So I just developed some healthy coping mechanisms along the way, and definitely getting help has helped me. Um, and basically, I'm able to look at it like you said. It's just an annoying little child telling you, "Oh, you have to do this. You have to think this. You have to feel it." You know what I mean? And instead of me succumbing to it and telling myself it's going to ruin my whole day, oh my goodness, I got a panic attack. It's gonna ruin my whole day. I don't do that anymore. For instance, yesterday I went through something similar to that. And I told myself I can either sit here and I can let it destroy my day, or I can tell myself I have the ability to react however I'd like with it and just continue my day and continue my normal activity. And before I knew it, I wasn't even thinking of that. The panic kind of just dissipated, and I was able to go on with my day, and I made the right decision to just leave it on as background noise. And that's something that I've also been told too. If you just treat it as background noise and just something annoying, like you said, that annoying little kid, it can't control you. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like sometimes it can be so powerful,
Yeah.
especially if either you're first dealing with it or if you just haven't developed those healthy coping mechanisms. It can be very difficult, but this just comes with years of dealing with it and struggling with it and finding different ways to cope. And honestly, I keep it in my mind that I have the ability to react however I want to react, and I can choose either to let it destroy me, or I can choose to just move on with my life and live my life to the fullest.
I love what you said, that it does take time, because one of the things that sucks about anxiety, and one of the hardest things, is it does bring physical manifestations. Like,
Yes.
it's one of the few that actually has quite a few physical, like your heart starts to beat. You can start to, like, there's all these things that start to happen in your body that you're like, oh no, these are real. Like, this is not all in my head anymore. Like, these
Yes.
real things are happening to me right now. And it
Yes.
actually causes the anxiety to rise through the roof. I used to have, when, after my son was born, and he was born sick, he almost passed away. I actually, but thank God he made it. He didn't pass away, but he was born really sick. And I was only 14 when I had him. And so, and I had never cared about my own life because of the way I had grown up. But facing the fact that I could lose him all of a sudden drove me into a state of so bad. My anxiety was like, I was almost a non-functioning, anxious adult at that time, with constant panic attacks. And the hardest part is, like I was saying, like, you actually have these physical manifestations of like what is
Yes.
going on. And so it's like, okay, before I could be like, okay, that's all in your head. But then when your body starts feeling it and you start seeing it, it's like, but how is this working? Right.
Yes.
And I guess to even tie that a little bit back to music with you and your artistry and your performing and stuff, how do you really challenge your anxiety, or how does that maybe affect or impact you as an artist, even like on stage, playing live shows, or writing, or just in general?
So basically, as far as how it impacts me, there was one time where actually it was my first ever show as on Eclipse. I want to say in January of this year, and it just so happened that walking into the venue, it just brought on a panic attack. Um, and basically, I thought it was going to ruin the whole show. I thought the whole show would just be horrible. Like, I'm panicking, I'm shaking right now, and it just really seemed like once I got on stage and once I saw everybody and once I started singing things that really just meant a lot to me, it just the anxiety went away. I think when you do something that you love to do, it's a really great coping mechanism, and that's something like I said, music has always been there for me. And even when I've been through like the worst of my anxiety, I've my coping mechanism really is either to write or just to listen to music. Something relaxing seems to help. Like yesterday, for instance, I needed to put on something relaxing, and there's just something about music that it has the ability to heal. It has the ability to just transform your mental health, and it's very comforting. It's very, very comforting. So how I look at it as, I took a situation where it looked grim. It looked like I was going to have a horrible show. And the moment that I went up on stage and I was doing what I love, it dissipated. Of course, like the first couple minutes, I was still anxious and I was like, I don't know how I'm doing this today. But just seeing everybody just vibe to my music and just be receptive towards it and just having an overall great show, I was like, okay, I can do this. I have the confidence to do this. I'm not going to let me panicking or my anxiety ruin this moment for me, because it's truly a beautiful moment. And basically, yes, anxiety has been a huge part of my life in negative ways, but I look at it as, okay, if I'm doing what I love, it just kind of seems to counteract it. And that's something that I have as a coping mechanism. If I notice that I'm getting anxious or I'm just kind of having an off day, either listening to music or just writing about my feelings, it really seems to release those emotions. And what I have to say to anybody that's struggling similarly is basically, if they have something that they enjoy, just do it. You know what I mean? Just do things that you enjoy, and it'll help take your mind off of those hard feelings.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because I think sometimes a lot of where we get anxiety from is like not doing something that's aligning authentically with ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that even speaks even higher, like when you say that you're anxious and then you still get on show, and I mean on the stage, and you still rock it, because that was so much harder than it had to be, but you still made that choice, made that decision, and still really honestly you put yourself to where you were going to show up for yourself, because anxiety, when you think about it, it's kind of a thief,
It
right?
is.
It steals our joy, it steals our happiness, it steals our peace. And we don't realize how important our peace is until it's something's stealing it. You
Exactly.
know? And so I think that's beautiful. So throughout your entire process, what is the most cathartic part for you? Is it playing on stage, writing, singing, like what is the most cathartic part of all of it for you?
I here's the thing. I can't pick a favorite. It's honestly, I love every part of being a musician. But I have to say, I guess if I had to pick a favorite, it's just hearing that people resonate with my lyrics and that it helps them through tough times in their life. Like that. That really has to be the most impactful thing as an artist. Just knowing that certain things I went through in life were not for nothing, and that they've helped people along the way. It means a lot to me.
What would be, for those people, what would be one piece of advice that you would have for them that you've learned throughout your journey that you wish you had have known sooner?
That basically I have the ability to shape my reality, and everybody does. And you can either let things destroy you, or you can take back your power and just live a fulfilling life, and don't listen to negativity. Don't listen to even your inner demons telling you that you can't do something. You have to stand up for yourself, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to move forward in life and just basically create the best reality you possibly can for yourself.
How did you really, like, when you started having to do that and facing your inner demons and really like standing up for yourself, what was that process like for you?
So it came down to, I didn't recently this was a recent thing. I had a family member pass away, and she lived just a very unfulfilling life. Um it just was very sad to see her life wasted, and I came to the conclusion that I don't want to end up like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to let negative things that people say weigh me down. I don't want to just be weakened to the point where I don't feel very good about myself and I live an unfulfilling existence. So I just came to the conclusion that I'm not going to let my inner struggles get to me. I'm not going to let outside struggles get to me either. I mean, it's easier said than done, really. It could be hard. It's really hard. Not going to lie. There's times where sometimes people say things to me that get to me a little bit, and I kind of steer off my path and think, oh, maybe I'm not good enough to pursue this, or my own anxiety gets to me sometimes. But from seeing the life that that person led, and just seeing how sad it was that it ended, and that person really didn't get to do a lot of the things they wanted to do in life, and they kind of just let outside people um, kind of just manipulate their life. And it was upsetting seeing this person's life end and them not getting to live it to the fullest. So I guess it was really upsetting to see that, but it taught me that I could either let problems and people destroy me, or I can pick myself up and tell them, you know what? I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to pick myself up. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to pursue my passions. I'm going to be a light for others to help them get over whatever they're going through, and see, oh, wow, she's going through certain things in her life and I can relate to her. And if I could help someone in any way, like that's all that this means to me. And especially with music, it's crazy because people are like, oh, it's just music, it doesn't really mean anything. No, it means so much more than just music, so much more than just lyrics. Like, it's crazy because one song can really help someone struggling. And I know that because I was that person at one time and going through a really tough mental health battle. Music was there for me, and I was able to pick myself up and just live a more fulfilling life. So if I can be that person to help others, that's all I really want to be. And that's kind of my story on how I decided that I'm not going to let things drag me down anymore, just by seeing somebody in my life who unfortunately did, and let it just like came to all that negativity and just had a existence where it wasn't very fulfilling, and they just listened to every negative thing that people have said to them, and then when their life finally ended, they didn't really do a lot with it. So I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to just shut negativity out and create the best reality I could for myself, because it's just a shame that a lot of us, we listen to negative things that people are saying to us, or we're listening to our own inner monologue telling us negative things. And it's crazy because we only have one life to live. If you want to pursue your passion, you want to do something with your life, go ahead. Believe in yourself, and you never know how far it can go. And here's the thing, like, if you do something that fulfills your passions and things that you like to do in life, like, you just automatically have like I don't know how to describe it, kind of like, I don't know, like a more positive aura about yourself. Because I've noticed a lot of people around me, ever since I picked up music again, they're like, oh, you're very, very happy. Like, I don't really see you the same way you were years ago, where you would constantly get down. And just, it was because I was feeling unfulfilled, and the fact that I picked up a passion of mine and I kept going with it, I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It feels nice. And that's what I encourage people to do. If they are passionate about something, just pursue it, because it really, I don't know, when you pursue something you're passionate about, it just changes your life. And I thought it was silly before, and until it happened to me. And it's just crazy because it's a chain reaction, seeing myself pursue something that I love and it helping others. And it's just an all around amazing chain reaction.
Number one, my deepest condolences for your family member. I'm so sorry. And that's a huge injustice and disservice that happened, and that's the way their life ended. And I'm so sorry for that. Um, so I just wanted to express that I'm very sorry for that.
Thank you. No, it was just basically like, it was more of a learning experience, just to see kind of how their life was. And it's unfortunate, but it did teach me that you only get one and you have to make the most out of it.
I always kind of like to think that those are the lives that, like once they're gone, that have taught us something. Like for me, so I have a phoenix on my leg. After my mom died, I felt like I could finally talk about the abuse, and like without feeling like I was betraying anyone, right? But it's almost like, even though she passed away under the means that she did, right? That because she had made such a deep impact in my life, what I was doing had a part of her in it too. So she wasn't quite gone. And so I was bringing beauty from the ashes for both of us, not just myself. And I almost kind of hear that kind of with you, that, when that family member died, it awakened something in your mind that you're like, I don't want to do that. And that learning experience is almost like they're carrying with you, right, as you're
Yeah,
making that new path for
definitely.
yourself. And you're turning beauty for ashes with that part of your life. And I think that that's really beautiful. And I love how you talked about how, too, like, music has just always been there for you. It's been such a big part of your life. What, at its core value, does music really mean to you?
It means everything to me. I mean, here's the thing. It means healing. It just means fulfillment. It means creativity. There's not just one meaning for it. I apply it to all areas in my life. Even as a child, it's just something that's always been really interesting to me. And it's all around comfort. And I feel like it has the ability to help people in so many different ways. And I'm just very grateful for the impact it has had in my life.
What are some of those artists that, when you think about, you're like, these are the artists like that had a tremendous impact on my life up until this point?
Oh my goodness. I have to say, one of my favorite bands that have really shaped me has to be Pierce the Veil. I just feel like Vic is
Oh, yeah.
very authentic in his lyrics as well. I know in Match into Water, he was talking about, I believe it was his girlfriend that had cancer. Um, and it was just really nice to see him just talk about that situation in his lyrics, and it was just a very authentic song. He writes very authentic lyrics, and that's just something that I really admire
Yeah.
about his writing style. It's just very authentic, and I feel like that pairs well with mine too, because I don't know, I just feel like writing authentically is something that I specialize in, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and the fact that I've been lucky enough to do that and have people resonate with my lyrics, so does he. I mean, their whole fan base, like that whole "Darling, You'll Be Okay" thing, it has impacted a lot of people, and
Yeah.
it's just even as a teenager, that's something that has impacted me, and just seeing how authentic he is in his writing. He's been a huge inspiration to me. So I definitely have I owe this part of this to his writing ability and just his oh my goodness, authentic. I can't talk today. Authenticity. Um, I don't know if you can cut that out.
Yeah, no, you're good.
No, just basically like his authentic. I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. No, just him being honest with his lyrics and sharing things about his life through his music. It's just it's shaped a lot of people, including me, and it's been an inspiration.
No, that's beautiful, and gosh, you picked an amazing band for that, and they've, gosh, they've been around for a while now, but
They've been
they're
around for a long
amazing.
time.
And
Yes.
so I guess this kind of goes into my last question, because my last question, but I think that I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of almost the same. So my last, because I want to honor your time. So my last question is, I believe that you can tell a lot about a person by the current song that they have on repeat. What is your current repeat song?
Oh my goodness. Can I check my Spotify really fast?
Yeah, go for it.
Let me see what I have. Okay, this is really something that I've had on repeat for days, actually. It's my gym song too. It's a great song for anything. I love the Spirit Box remix of that song Cobra by Megan Thee Stallion. It's just so
Okay.
good. It's so good. I love it. And I feel like basically it's a powerful song to begin with. And Courtney's vocals layered over it, it transforms the song into something even more powerful. It's amazing. And it's kind of, the song is about Megan's struggles and just a low point in her life, and it's just something that resonated with me too, just hearing that and then hearing Courtney's vocals. It just really created an impactful song.
No, I love that. Courtney has amazing vocals, and
Yes.
gosh, I love Spirit Box in general. But you know, I love that, and thank you so much for sharing everything with me. And I wanted to say too that I appreciate you coming on here today, and I appreciate your vulnerability. I think that you are a beautiful and kind soul, and I am so happy for all of your success that you're having, and I am so excited to see where your career takes you in the future. Is there
Thank you.
anything you want everybody to know before we go?
Honestly, just don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to pursue your passions in life. You never know where they're going to take you. It's crazy because if you just have a little ounce of faith in yourself, like, great things can happen. And you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. Don't let your inner demons get to you. Don't let outside people and their negativity bring you down. It's easier said than done, I know, but from someone that has been through a lot of those things, to pick myself back up and rise from the ashes, it's been a hard process, but it's been a process that has been worth it. So I say that if you are struggling with something and it's getting the best of you, to just remind yourself that you have the ability to rise up and just live a fulfilling life and make the best out of your life, because you only get one.
No, I love that, and it's so true. There's a content creator slash artist that I really love, Bokwa Hyde, and he always talks about one of the things that he said to me that was most inspirational on his, not to me personally, but just in general, was that we spend all day showing up for somebody else's dream and never showing up for our own. And so I love that you're showing up for yourself, and you're showing up for your Phoenix moments, and you're showing up to make that beauty from ashes, and even that you're showing up and helping other people do the same. I think that that's like that true definition of a kind, pure soul, is a soul that is really trying to help other souls and itself at the same time. Because the funny thing is part of our healing is healing with others, right? And it's
Yes.
kind of, we don't realize it, 'cause we almost, there's parts of us that begin to isolate, and there's parts of us that don't, but it's really a healing process for us to all grow together. So thank you so much again for your time. I appreciate you. And guys, please check out Eclipse. I will leave all of her links down below in the description. Check her out. Send her lots of love. Send her lots of light, guys. And I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.